What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content. With you, boy, Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins, man. Um, I said all week, which is 3 days, but whatever, that I didn't like this matchup. I know some people came at me like, yo, why you glazing Baltimore? They're a bad team. I was like, no, they're a bad matchup for this team. And the Dolphins did everything they could to prove me right. It wasn't the win probability for Miami in this game was amazing to Rusty Lamar forcing turnovers, and then maybe inclement weather, maybe the rain or something, whatever it is. Well, what we got tonight was a team that just made a bunch of mistakes, and we'll get to that in a second for the next topic. And at a certain point, it was just clear there's a gap in the teams. You can maybe think Baltimore is still overrated at 3-6 or whatever, but clearly they are in a different tier than Miami. If they played 10 times, I would pick Baltimore 9. I don't see this is not we're not like this. We're not nip and tuck. Like us against the Patriots. The Patriots are probably a better team right now, but we could have easily beaten them. And we played them late in the year. Who knows what happens? This game was all right, this is a better team. And it just wasn't particularly good. Fans were booing. I saw people wearing buckets. I mean, it's when people start leaving the game at the beginning of the fourth quarter at home, it's not the best situation in the world. I feel bad because there was a time early in the game where I said, "Hey, hanging in there." Anytime you're the underdog in a game, your biggest thing you have to hang in there, stay there long enough that a team that's favored starts getting a little dicey, and you hope you force them into a mistake. They start feeling the pressure of, "Hey, this team's not that good, and they got us like they right next to us," and you hope you get a turnover or a long punt return, or they miss a field goal, or whatever it is. But when you keep it close early and then you don't either get a big lead or you don't cut into theirs, that becomes like oddly demoralizing. It's like, hey, we're doing good work right now, but we're not scoring. Like we're just not scoring points. And then at some point they're going to score. I mentioned Baltimore with Lamar is one of the top two or three teams scoring in the league. They're over 30 points a game. They scored 28 tonight. That's a win. I had 34-23 in my prediction. So they didn't hit 34. Now, could they have? Maybe. They kept the foot on the gas, perhaps. But they didn't. So if I told you going into the game, Baltimore's going to score 28 points. 28 from the Ravens, you're like, hey, we could get 30, 31. Like, it doesn't seem incomprehensible. If I told you they would score 28 and win by 3 touchdowns, you would be like, because Baltimore's defense hasn't been great really at any point this year. They have been, honestly, almost as bad as our defense has been in a lot of respects. They have more talent than our defense, but they haven't really played up to the talent. And so to keep it as close as we did for as long as we did, and then squander at the end, I mean, it got bad at a certain point. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll get into that later as well. But I didn't have the game being this big of a. I said a 10-point win, so that's more than a 7.5 point spread. So I went above the spread. I didn't go this far above the spread because I assumed we would be able to score enough points to keep the game close, but just didn't do it. And it's mostly because we made a lot of mistakes. So many mistakes. I will say this is something that I do that I don't know if this is how like ESPN or stat spaces do their thing. Anytime you get to the red zone and you leave with no points, that's a turnover to me. Like there's turnover on downs, but like if you miss a field goal, I don't think that qualifies as turnover on downs. That's like if you just go for it on fourth down and don't get it, they call it turnover on downs, and it still doesn't go into the turnover category. But in my mind, if you get to the red zone 3 times, it gets stuffed, and you try a long field goal and you don't like, that's a turnover. Miami had, I think by count 7 turnovers tonight. It's a lot. We had 3 actual turnovers, but the number of times we got to the red zone, and I don't know what was going on with play calling. It just felt like we got to the red zone and it was like, do this. Hey, throw the ball to him. Wait, am I the receiver in the route? Hey, don't block somebody. Hey, Tua, do it. It just, there was inexplicable mistakes. The drive would be going so well. You get inside of 25 and this, I don't know. I don't know what happened. And in fact, it felt like a collective we're just not on the same page moment. It's different if it's like, oh, the receiver just didn't snap his head around. It's different if Tua just misses a throw. It's different, but it was like play calling, quarterback play, receiver play, running back play. It was like on all the levels, somebody wasn't doing their job. You can get that off one drive, maybe two, but it was like every drive, and then you miss a field goal. Riley's been great this year. I gassed him up a few episodes back. Like, yo, Riley stepped in. Maybe Jason's out, blah, blah, blah. Nah. Now when you do that, now when you sell in a game like this, like long pass on the sideline of Jalen Waddle, nah, tripping call. Like, what happened? Oh, Ollie fell, and they said his leg flew up in the air, and it's like, fine. 4th and 1, you going to go for it? Nope, false start. Like, what? All right, let's go for a field goal. Nope. Like, it's just, there were so many mistakes tonight. Malik Washington, what happened tonight? Y'all know I've been gassing Malik. I think he's wide receiver probably 2 at this point. But going into the year, he's wide receiver 3. I was like, he's over Nick. He's got some Debo in him. Remember the whole Meebo thing? Like, or Meibo, whatever name they called him. His name up for Debo. I was like, he's on punt returns. He's running the ball, receiving the ball. But it was like gadgety without really working out. We give him reverses. We give him like screens. We give him a lot of ways to touch the ball. Kick returns. And it's like he's shown a couple flashes, like on his kick return touchdown. Like he showed some flash. He caught a touchdown last week. So we thought, okay, if we keep building on that, we got something. And today was a complete step back. It just, you got to hold on to the ball. Just no other way to say it. We're not good enough to afford turnovers. We're not good enough to afford turnovers to a team that has that much offense at their disposal. You can turn the ball over against the Saints maybe and get a dub. That's fine. But you can't turn the ball over deep in your own zone and say, hey, Lamar, go 10 yards for a touchdown. Can't do that. Not if you want to win. You can't do that. 2 or 3 on the pick tonight. The game was well out of reach at that point, but he now leads the league in picks. What are we doing? Like, we can't do that. Is this all Tyreek not being on the team thing? Perhaps. You know, Tyreek covered up a lot of warts, obviously, but just mistake after mistake after mistake. It felt like it started compounding, and the camera kept cutting to Coach McDaniel, and he just was looking just like. But at a certain point, this does fall on the coach. Like, if all the groups aren't doing their job, then, like, what are we talking about? The offense is coach's responsibility. I know Frank is calling plays, or I don't know what – he's the offensive coordinator. I don't know what Frank is actually doing. But whatever. It just felt like the team was on edge. I think the pressure of we got to score, that's kind of what happens when you play a team that has really good offense, that at a certain point you start feeling like we got to score every time we get the ball, and most likely touchdowns. This is why Detroit is such a formidable team to play against, because they score a lot of points, but they also go for it a lot. So you kind of get the double head of like, all right, we got to stop them 4 times, a lot of times. Usually 3 times, punt, field goal, you feel pretty good. Detroit's like 4th and 4. Like, I stop y'all again, and it weighs on you. You can stop them a couple times, and maybe you'll get good offensive possession every now and again, but they get them a lot too. It felt like the team started pressing. It felt like McDaniel was trying to do something fancy. Like, the running game was so good early. The second half, the running game was non-existent. Part of that was because we were down in the game, but also it was just, it didn't feel like things were working well. It just, I don't know, it was tough. As you said, I'm discombobulated because I'm trying to describe what I saw. It was a disheartening game. Because last week was such a big win. Last week was the best the Dolphins looked all year. Tua with the visor on, 4 touchdowns, fantasy champion, people high-fiving, dapping each other up. Defense played well. Jordan Brooks got Defensive Player of the Week for the AFC. It was all bueno. And then we came into this game like, yo, we can take that and bring it home against a Lamar. We got something. And they just said, aberration. That's not who we are. Who we were this week is who we've been all year. Turnover prone, mistake prone, not good in the red zone, mistakes all over the place, time management. It's just all the things that we've had issues with, we did today. I don't know what happened last week, but that feels like a distant thing in the past now. I honestly felt bad for the defense today. Because the defense in the first half, I thought did as good a job as they can do. He held Baltimore to 14 points, and 7 of those came off of awful turnover. So really, you could say we held them to 7 points for real, for the whole half. They forced a bunch of punts. They were bothering Lamar, but they weren't like getting a ton of sacks early. We had 2 for the game. And then the second half, it kind of got out of hand. What the game plan was, and I said going into it, they're going to try to stop Derrick Henry. So the game's going to come down to Lamar. That's what it came down to. And Lamar just started picking people apart. But it's because they had so many people in the box to stop the run that they were passing lanes wide open. And even when there weren't, Lamar would just navigate the pocket and then make a play. This is why having a mobile quarterback is a big deal, because Tua had a grounding call. I know I'm on the defense right now. Tua had a grounding call because he felt pressure coming, and he just he threw it in the ground, and it was like he didn't even get to the line of scrimmage. I was like, why don't you just roll out more, clear the pocket, and throw it away? Or most quarterbacks just run. It was just like I'm not getting rid of the ball, and it was like that's the difference, because Lamar would roll out and maybe take off if he could, but for sure roll out, extend the play, keep pointing guys, hey, direct, go here. And it's like when you don't have that, it seems like the offense is handcuffed. The defense today, I thought, did a good job in the first half. Second half, they were going to break. It was bound to happen. Like, Derrick Henry's stat line ended up being good, 19 carries, 119 yards. But he only had 70-ish when the game mattered. If you told you going into the game, we're going to hold Derrick Henry through 3 quarters to 70 yards, they're going to try to feed him the ball. You would feel pretty good. Derrick didn't kill us. We got beat up by Charlie Kohler and Mark Andrews. Like, okay, fine. Even Zay didn't really kill you. But at a certain point, the defense is not going to keep stopping them. At some point, somebody's going to break a long throw like Isaiah Likely's 35-yard catch. Like, at some point, it's going to happen. And the defense held up and said, offense, can y'all give us something? 6 points that's not going to beat anybody. It's an unacceptable offensive effort against the teams whose defense has been bad. They've just been bad on defense. To the point that people said, basically from week 2 on, hey, fire DC. This guy's not good at his job. They went and got a safety from the Chargers because they said, we're not good enough in the secondary. Which Miami's had issues with all year, but that's fine. Roquan's been out. Marlon Humphrey's been out. Madubuike's out. They've had injuries. They've had guys coming off injuries. Like, this hasn't been a good defense all year. We know the personnel. We know what the Ravens are supposed to be. But they haven't been that this year. And to score 6 points, at least the Browns have a good defense. We should have scored more than 6 points against the Browns. It's fine. But the Browns defense has Myles Garrett, who, to me, is unequivocally the best defensive player in the league. I don't even know what we're talking about. So when you got one dude that's taking on 2, sometimes 3 people and wrecking games, fine. Denzel Ward, top 10 corner, maybe top 5. Depends on how you see it. I can see how they did that. That's not the Ravens. Like, that's not what their defense, not this year, 2 years ago for sure. This year, no. We let the defense down. No other way to say it. We let them down. Bad play calling, bad execution, turnovers, we let them down. And I think people are going to try to put this, they're going to look at this box score and say, oh, Derrick Henry had 100-some yards and Lamar had 5 incompletions. He just like, our defense played bad. They didn't, though. We failed them as a team, and it's frustrating. So now the season's officially over. 2-7. You literally have to win out and then pray for miracles to happen to get in. I don't see that happening. All right, let me just say that point blank. We mentioned a couple days ago that the team is not trying to do a fire sale. This put out by the team. The team said not trying to sell off. That's what they said. I told you they're saying that to drop the cost up because they are obviously going to start trading people. I don't see a reason why they wouldn't do it. They said we're not selling people off. We still believe in the season. We're not getting rid of Tua. I put out that weird Tua trade request thing. Sure. Now the season's over, what are we going to start doing? Do you let Tua play the rest of the year out? Or do you let Zach Wilson come in and play? Do you let Quinn Ewers play? I don't know. Quinn Ewers apparently has been supplanted as a backup now. So now Zach is officially our backup again. I don't know what that week was where Quinn Ewers became the backup. And the coach is like, nah, get back to third. I was gassing Quinn. I was like, hey, maybe Quinn's the one. Not anymore. He's back to third string quarterback. Do we do that? I think Devon's going to play the rest of the year. He's still trying to get a contract extension. That makes sense to me. I think both of our defensive ends, Jalen Phillips got a sack tonight. I think one, if not both of them, will be traded. I still don't think Waddle's going anywhere. That's fine. But, I mean, I don't know what we do coaching wise. I still think Coach McDaniel will be here for the whole year. I don't think he's getting fired during the season. I could see Tua getting benched, though. That People ask me about that trade request with not a trade request, that trade proposition with the Raiders, and I would actually be more okay with the team just eating the cap than doing the bad trade like that. Like, just say, hey, we're gonna eat the cap, release Tua, pay all that money. We'll figure the money thing out, and we'll just start over and rebuild. Then give up two really really valuable second round picks and Tua to try to get off. Like that to me, that's hurting your future both ways. Because we can find ways to play without people making money, right? 1 or 2 years of not making money, that's fine. That cap goes back up. Those picks though, those could be Hall of Fame level guys down the line, and they're cheap. There's two cheap contracts, which if you're trying to rebuild your team without a quarterback, you do it cheap. So you're gonna give up your quarterback and two picks that could potentially be quarterbacks or packaged together to move up and get great offensive line play. Like to me, that's too much. I know. I think it's like $99 million if you factor in this year, the bonus, and next year. If you factor all the money in, it's like almost $100 million. A lot of money. A lot of money. A lot of money. I get it. But if the idea is where are we going? That's what tonight kind of like illuminated to me. I was like, if the market sit at home for a month, come in and look like he's literally playing a different game than what Tua's playing. Like I thought Tua was navigating the pocket pretty well tonight. He was moving up, moving back, but there's a unease anytime it's not clean. It's not full on panic. I don't think he really panicked tonight. I mean that grounding call was egregious because there was actually nobody to his left. So when he flushed, he could have just kept flushing and just threw. He could have actually got outside the tackle box and just said, "I don't even want to run anymore." It's a crazy play. That's to me a microcosm of the whole night. Not important, but it seems like they're playing different positions. That's what I'm watching. I'm like, this is not even the same football. Even watching Drake May just run around and do, I'm like, they're playing different football than we can even play, and we're not going to play a different offense as long as Tua is here. We can't throw the ball any quicker than 2.2 seconds. Not realistically, unless you're just legit just throwing. I mean, it'll be Dylan Gabriel at that point. You might as well get Dylan Gabriel if you're going to play that kind of offense. The idea is that Tua can push the ball down the field. Like, I don't know what you're selling to your team. You're selling in perfect Atlanta's conditions with no pass rush. We can have a good offensive production. That's what you're selling. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. It's a tough place to go. You're gonna hear a lot of finger pointing and get ready for the media today. Oh man, burn it down. Miami Dale, bad coach. Tua, worst starting quarterback in the league. They should drive. Nussmeier, who they decided they're gonna throw some quarterback out there. I think a lot of those guys are going back to school. Draft Mendoza, whatever. It's just I don't know where we go from here. Because we didn't lose the locker room going into this week. This game is going to be demoralizing. Now you have 10 days to sit and stew on this with Buffalo coming up. But you feel better about that? Hey, we couldn't stop Lamar. Guess what we got next? Josh Allen, the last two MVPs back to back. It's a tough situation, man. Buffalo hasn't looked great. I mean, they dominated last week, but some of that was Carolina had a backup quarterback, and Carolina did what we did today. They kept moving the ball and then messing up, and then Buffalo just kept converting on them. But 2 weeks before that, Buffalo lost and didn't look good at all. So if we get the Buffalo from 2 or 3 weeks ago, it could be a good game. Buffalo from last week, forget about it. So we'll see what happens. But this was demoralizing. This wasn't as bad as the Colts game hurt because we know how good the Colts were. Now I'm over that game. Colts are a good team. They beat us up. Fine. I'm still mad about the Browns. I'm not letting that go because they're running some kind of Mickey Mouse operation over there. They don't have a quarterback. They don't probably have a coach after this year. Myles Garrett's mad. They got some nonsense going on. This was, I thought we turned a corner a little bit, and obviously we didn't. That was kind of an outlier. So where do we go from here? I don't know. But as always, y'all, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and the subscribes. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily.